Hello, Sarah.
Hello, teacher.
How are you?
I'm fine, happy and tired. What about you?
Very good. Thank you.
How's your family?
Good? I think yes. They are
Okay.
good. They are very, very good. I have already
Okay.
given the feedback for the third video. Okay?
Oh, did you see the video
I
yet?
watch. I watched the video.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, your
Watch,
class.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, already watch it. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so let's wait for more people if they come and see what
Good
happens.
evening, teacher. Hello, teacher.
Hello. Hi,
How are you?
Carolina. Very good, thank you. What about
Okay,
you?
teacher. Yeah, I'm good. A little bit tired, but good.
But why tired?
Oh, teacher, because we have been celebrating the School Spirit Week in my school.
Oh my God.
And actually, we had like each day a different celebration, so it's been like hard.
Very hard.
Very hard,
I
yes.
think
But it's
that
been
those.
like fun.
Yeah, continue.
No, that it has been like a really fun activity. Like
Mhm.
we every day we choose like a different topic. For example, like crazy hair, crazy hat hair, or twins day. But we have to develop like different activities during the like the different hours. So yeah, it's been really hard.
Yeah, I imagine. Even I think that it is harder when you don't have to give class, but you have to prepare those kind of things. It is hard.
Exactly. Yes, that happens.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Teacher, and I want to ask you something
Ask.
because I developed my class, but actually just like to the middle, I'll say, like I have to develop some like the final activity, and tomorrow we have like the biggest celebration that is like it's called backpacking through the world, and they are going to travel like to different countries, which are the different classrooms, and there are going to be people like explaining about um, important aspects of some English speaking countries.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that problem. I couldn't finish with my classes, and tomorrow I'm not going to like to do it. I don't know if you can help me, like give me more days, or actually should I like I don't know, like upload to YouTube the part of the class that I already have. I
But
don't know what.
next week you are going to have class.
Yeah, next week is normal. It's like normal class.
Yeah, okay. So let's do the next week.
Okay, thank you, teacher, because I was very worried about that.
Okay, don't worry. We
Okay.
have 5 people. I need more people here. Okay, talking about next week, I have to tell you that we cannot have a session or a class next week, okay? Because I have some things to do at the university. We have elections, and we have to stay there. I am going to be a jury in the elections at university, and I have to be there until 9. So I cannot attend this class next week. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Mhm.
However, however, besides, in 2 weeks we are going to have the last class of the semester. So we are going to finish on May the 6th. Okay?
That will be on June.
I yes, sorry.
June the 6th,
I am a
yes.
little lost in time. Right.
No, it's
Okay.
okay.
Yes, June the 6th. June the 6th, we are going to have the last meeting, and in that that last meeting we are going to discuss and close what the class was during this time. Okay.
Okay, teacher, I have a question.
Which
In which part of the platform we can upload the writing the next week?
hmm?
Do you remember
It-
that
yes,
we
it
have
is.
to do?
Yes, I uploaded the link.
Oh yes. Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
already.
I didn't.
Let me show
I
you.
haven't seen. I haven't seen it. Sorry.
Let me show you.
I'm going to look for that.
This one. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Sorry, teacher.
Remember that we
Thank you.
cancel the activity 14, we cancel this, and we cancel activity 16, and we are going to only work on this one. Okay. So
Okay.
for the final, because I was about to talk about this one, the final talk, the final writing, the final activity. It is going to be a reflective paper, okay, in which you are going to explain more or less, as we have been done, the point of view or your experience in this class, in this semester and a half. I mean, the first semester and this semester as well. You have done this exercise since the second semester, I mean this semester, but I would like you to reflect upon what has happened with you as a teacher during this semester and a half. If you have seen any transformation, if everything is the same, if you have seen that you need more uh, like more information or like more things to do in the future, what things do you think you need to continue improving, and those kind of things, right? So that's why I wrote this. It says, it has been a pleasure for me, and it is true, it has been a pleasure for me to be with you along this journey of the teaching practicum. We are about to finish this leg of the journey because it's just one leg, it is not the end. So I invite you to stop and analyze your experience so far, having in mind what has happened or what has happened in each one of your classes. What you what I made a mistake here, so I have to correct it. What you have lived or what you from the interaction in the virtuals. Yes, what you have experienced from the interaction in the virtual sessions. It means here the conversations that we have had together, and the readings you had, the workshops you have done. I want you to write a reflective essay in which you express, or where you express the, your learnings, challenges, difficulties, and also the plans or your plans related to the teaching English. I have to edit this again. The text must be delivered in a Word file. The extension, 2 to 3 pages. If you want to write more, don't worry. I have to write this just because. The font, Times New Roman 12, 1.5 space between lines. Okay. Try to be uh, um, very honest with yourselves. Try to be very reflective. When I say this, try to go back and start seeing. Remember that reflection is this: to go back, start seeing what had happened and what describe. So very descriptive as well. You can write this. I mean, it is better that you write this in first person. Yeah, like a reflection paper or like a reflective essay. And in case that you need some subtitles, you can use it, okay? Just in case. Sometimes we divide the texts um, like in episodes or like in stages or like in different sections. So if you need subtitles, you can use them, right? Any question about this activity? Do you have any doubt about this?
No, teacher. It's clear.
When is the deadline of this activity? Do you remember?
You said
June,
that for next week?
June the 2nd.
Let me check.
June the 2nd.
Because if you know me, you must know that I don't remember. Sorry.
Yes,
Sorry for being so honest. Let me see.
June the 2nd, teacher.
Yeah, June the 2nd. That's good. Yes, I was about to correct this thing. Okay. Any question? Did you started doing this activity or not?
Not so far, teacher.
No, so far.
No, next
Okay.
week for sure we will start.
Okay, June the 2nd.
I will start.
Yes, we have 2 weeks. So we can finish June the 6th. You see?
Yeah, to the last semester.
This is your last semester?
Yes.
Yes, I hope.
And you are taking the course about that course instead of doing the research project, right? Some of you.
Teacher,
Some, yes.
Yes, for example, Cesar and me were in the research
Tanya,
project.
you are here, Tanya.
Yes, I
Oh,
say good evening, teacher.
I didn't listen. Sorry.
Oh, again, good evening, teacher.
Good evening. Cesar, you are
Eh,
working on the research project. Yes.
yes, we are in the last part of the project, so we hope that this will be our last semester.
Next one.
We
Okay.
are working hard in that.
What is your project about?
It is about mock exams.
Hmm? And what happened?
Well, the idea is to prove. Well, the research is in Cesar School. So the idea is to prove that I don't know how to explain that. Well, the idea is to prove if when you apply exam of classification exam in their school, some students uh, doesn't do the things in a good way uh, to stay in different levels. For example, my best friend is in intermediate and I am in basic. So I present in a bad way my exam to stay with my friend in the basic level. And I'm intermediate. You know what I mean?
Yes. And what is the
So
problem?
we are investigating research that if that problem is um, um, how do you say that, like attitude from the students, or is a bad design of the exam. So we are in that process.
Oh, risky.
Yes.
Hmm, interesting. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes I am asked to be the juror. Sometimes. I don't know what,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So let's see if I have to read your paper.
Yes, teacher. I think that yes.
I don't know. I am not that kind with papers. Okay, but okay, that's another story. Okay, right. Last class we talk about a little bit about something related to listening and we explained or we explored some strategies or some techniques that we can have, right? Or that we can use during the classes, I don't know. But I would like you to share with me what kind of things, what kind of things do you use in order to improve or to work speaking with your students? What do you do for teaching speaking?
In my case, I use a lot of audiovisual resources. I usually like used to start my classes like putting a video to my students about a topic like we can discuss or do like a conversation, or maybe pictures like that I don't know, like maybe they are interesting for them, so they are like motivated and engaged to talk about it.
Okay. So any other activity that you do in order to promote speaking with your students or to teach speaking skills? What do you do, guys?
Sure, I consider that other activities practice, for example, dialogue or another activity that promotes on them or the way to speak about some topics or about some places or descriptions, something like that. I think so.
Okay. So you talk about dialogues.
Yes, it's a possibility, or to talk about a video or to talk about a specific place or description, physical appearance that promote that improve their skills about speaking.
Okay. Any other activity?
Yes, teacher. Maybe role plays.
Maybe, I don't know. Do you use role plays?
Well, it's like a kind of dialogue. Yes, well, now I can't because I'm in preschool, so it's a little bit difficult to develop that skill. But for example, in another course, like I don't know, in primary, I see that teachers use a lot of role plays in their classes with real situations. For example, I saw today a role play about a tourist to another country, other present culture and different things. That was an interest.
Okay. Tanya, although your, I don't know, the signal at your house maybe is not good, I could understand, okay, because it was sounding like strange, but okay, it was good. Okay, Tanya talked about role plays, Sarah talked about dialogues, Carolina said that she used videos. What else do you use for promoting speaking or for teaching speaking?
Through reading activities too, maybe like we read something and then we talk about it, or presentations when they create something, when they want to share an experience, or yeah, I don't know.
Any other, Cesar? What activities do you use for teaching speaking?
Good evening, teacher, classmates. The idea is when you're teaching speaking activities or teaching the speaking skill is to bring really catchy activities or topics where, and also it's very important that they know the basis, like the vocabulary that we're talking, and it's very important also to have or to bring real life experiences, just to make them talk about real life experiences. because they are easy to relate to their life and to explain in their own words. So that's the idea.
Okay, so basically you made them talk about their experiences, their
Yes, and
personal.
experiences, and also you can, as a teacher, you can give it as example. You start by yourself doing the activity. So, the example you're talking about, if you're going to make them explain how to prepare example, how to prepare a sandwich. So or your favorite food, you start doing your own example and say, no, I like to use this, and then I prepare like this. Boom. So they feel engaged, and they follow your steps, and then they show you how they understand it or how they will do it or
Mhm.
explain it, and they do it like use yours as an example, and then you start by talking about their experience, their likes or dislikes, or their own thoughts.
Okay, so I have another question for everybody. We have said what activities we use. Let me see. There is a chat here. Okay, Rafael. Good evening. But I would like to ask you, what kind of activities you don't like to use for teaching speaking? Because there are activities that you like, but what kind of activities you definitely don't like to teach speaking?
When maybe when they have to repeat the same like they heard
Okay.
in a listening or in an audio, like more like similar like a more audiolingual things, um,
So you don't
like
feel, yeah,
yes, repeating the things. No, like they heard and they repeat again.
right. So you don't feel comfortable with that activity. Repeat it.
No, no, sir.
Repeat after me.
No,
Repeat after
yes.
the video. Repeat.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, right.
Okay, that's good. Any other?
Or maybe teacher, good evening.
Good
Uh,
evening, Wilton.
Maybe give them a dialogue and to make them repeat and just using that kind of sentences or things like that. Because sometimes it's it's not comfortable for me. I think
Okay.
they want to repeat, but it's because sometimes they don't feel comfortable doing that because it's like we are reading and we are repeating the same things, and maybe it's the one I
Okay.
can mention.
You don't like that. Okay. Any other activity that you can say you really don't like to do when you work with the speaking, with speaking? No one? No one else? Okay.
No, teacher.
I have to tell you that I agree with Wilton and with Cesar. I don't like those kind of activities in which you have to repeat or memorize things. When I am teaching speaking, I think that the best is they to try to be spontaneous from the very beginning, right? I know that there are some exercises, maybe, that in which you have to make them repeat in order to practice pronunciation of those kind of things, but that's different, right? The exercise that Wilton talked about is to give a piece of paper with a dialogue, or they create their own dialogue and they write the whole speaking, because it doesn't have many sense. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it's just repeating, and it is not speaking. It's right. It's reading, as you said. Yeah. Okay, right. And we are not promoting speaking, but pronunciation. And although this is part of speaking, I think that there must be more things. So here we have an explanation of what speaking is. The first thing is speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and non-verbal symbols in a variety of contexts. So if we read this definition, what calls your attention? What can you say about this definition? The first one. Speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and non-verbal symbols in a variety of contexts. What can you say about that?
Well, teacher, I would say that it could be true because the important thing is when we are trying to change or make them change their mind because sometimes we only use an structure and when they have to face the real life they can't do anything else just repeating the same thing. But in this process, as we can see here, the idea is build and share meaning, and I think it's very important because sometimes we just give them the the meaning or we just give them just a bit of the of the context that we are reading here, or we just use some things. But I think it's important because it's not just a verbal, but we have to communicate with symbols and, and put them in the context. The thing
Okay.
is,
Yep. Yes. Okay. So pay attention that as Wilton said, here we have this building and sharing meaning. What level of linguistics do you think we have to work with when we talk about building and sharing meaning with students? What area of the linguistics?
Metacognition.
But metacognition is to recognize what we know and how we know that. But here we are saying building and sharing meaning. And it says a variety of contexts. In a variety of contexts. So
Sociocultural.
could be part of the sociocultural, but in this case, this building and sharing meaning has to do more with something that you studied with me, pragmatics.
Something like syntaxis or
Pragmatics.
Yes.
The pragmatics, that it has to do with this meaning that it is constructed at the moment of speaking in the context or through the context, right? So this is the idea of speaking. Construct this meaning from a pragmatics using this pragmatic competence also as a help to do it. The other
So, but it would be like a sociolinguistic and pragmatics.
sociolinguistic because we are using our own cultural background, and that's true. That constitute the context. That's true. But pragmatics also because it is at the moment of speaking. What happens at the moment of speaking? How we are constructing meaning. For example, in this moment. In this moment, we are building and sharing meaning. Just talking about speaking. Right? We are making a consensus of what speaking is just because we are speaking about that or talking about that. Yeah? So it is more or less like that. So the same happens with our students. Now, if we read the second, could you please read the second bubble? I don't know, maybe Wilton?
okay, speaking is an interactive process of constructing meaning that involves producing and receiving and
Receiving.
processing information. Receiving, sorry, and processing information.
Yes, very good. Pay attention that here we have the same construction of meaning that it is very important. Okay? Yes, Rafael. But then we have here from Brown and Burns and Joyce another thing. It says involves producing and receiving and processing information. So what is this? What comes to your mind when you read this?
Teacher, for example, I think that when in a real contest or in a real dialogue, two people have to thinking about the mental process, like may make questions or answers, or think about is he has to or bueno, involve another mental process like then, for example, I think that.
Teacher,
Bien.
teacher,
Carolina?
I will say that maybe it will sound like obviously, but that for me that means that we need for to work the speaking skill. We need from a second person. We need the interaction. We need to change like information, messages, ideas, knowledge. Like we need
Yes.
to have that process of interaction
Very good.
in order to practice or to strengthen this skill.
And actually, pay attention to what you are saying and what the author is saying here. And it comes to my mind, this producing, receiving, and processing information, like the description and what you have said also, Carolina, like the process of communication. As simple as that,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
right? Remember, the person who is the receptor and the other part that produces the message, what happens in the brain and the feedback. So it is more or less the process of communication. So what is the
Yes.
implication of the speaking when we are teaching speaking? That there must be, as you said, Carolina, there must be interaction. There must be real communication, right? So for example, okay, talking about what we said before, the activity that Wilton didn't like, or the activity that Cesar didn't like, or they said they don't like, they don't have this kind of processes. They don't build and share meaning, or they don't produce, receive, and process information, because it's just information that nothing happens. So there is no communication, so we cannot consider a speaking activity, right? Yes?
Teacher, I
Yes?
had a question. Teacher, it happened the same when it's a what is the
Monologue?
word? Monologue.
In the monologue, the intention is to communicate a message and be able to build this meaning and share this meaning with an audience, right? In this case, there is communication, yeah?
Okay, teacher.
Because another person is going to receive the information. The thing is that you are not going to have a feedback, or you are not going to have, the other party is not going to participate in this process, but there is.
Okay, teacher.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, right. Let's continue. Gosh. Let's see if something happens. Right. So, in conclusion here, what is teaching speaking? Is produce the English speech sounds and sound patterns. That's one of the things, and they has to do with pronunciation. Use word and sentence stress, intonation, and rhythm, that they have to do with the suprasegmental features of speech. So those are things that we can see like a structural, right? Or little by little try to incorporate it in our teaching. Select appropriate words and sentences according to the audience, situation, and subject matter. So it is when we have a dialogue or when we have a monologue. Organize their thought, in a meaningful and logical sequence. Use language as a means of expressing values and judgments, and use the language quickly and confidently. So those are more or less the goals for speakers or for yes, for everybody who's speaking. At different levels, of course, you have to increase each one of these characteristics. I mean, each one of these characteristics is going to be higher in terms of, for example, words or sentences or structures or uses of rhetorical figures or uses of the language in order to explain whatever of those things that happens, right? So what are the alternatives that we have for teaching speaking? We have the communicative language teaching, right? And from this perspective or from this approach, we know that we have to deal with real situations, as you said, the real life of students, because this is a sociocultural vision of language, and in the sociocultural vision of learning, it means that we have to interact with others and we have to interact with our own context, within our own context. And there is an idea of collaborative learning, right? Working in pairs and groups. Also, there could be a monologue and they can perform a monologue on their own. Mostly, we have to promote this collaboration among them in order they to help the other to improve their teaching. Oh, sorry, their speaking. Yeah, that's very, very important. For that reason, and you mentioned it, Carolina, interaction is necessary and almost, I will say, mandatory. Interaction among students. It must be mandatory in a communicative language teaching classroom. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. That's very complicated, right? Sometimes with the groups, when the groups are big.
Yes.
It is complicated. It is a challenge that we have. But we have to try little by little to promote this communicative language teaching environment and this collaborative learning environment. This is going to be something that is going to help you and it's going to help your students among all, right? So we have here that okay, again, we have the receptive skills, the productive skills. Listening and speaking has to do with oral communication. We said that reading and writing have to do with written communication. Reading and listening are receptive. Speaking and writing are communicative. Are productive skills. So when we connect, for example, speaking, this is very, very interesting that we always need to work listening at the same time, right? And reading, we can use also with speaking or with listening or with writing. Yeah, but speaking needs at least the listening, at least. The main problems of of developing the oral communication skills could be, for example, the syllabus requirements. Sometimes the syllabus demands certain things that you have to teach or certain topics that you have to cover. Or maybe the syllabus is in your schools are designed based on a book that they have to follow and finish. So this is something that you have to pay attention and to take into account. Those are external factors that are going to affect the development of the activities and the development of the class, but you have to pay attention to this in order to know or to understand how to deal with them, right? The other one is the language and speech. Maybe your students are, as they are in the process of acquiring, of learning the language, they are going to have some problems with the language, with what kind of language could they use, right? And with how to structure a proper sentence or how to express themselves, right? I have seen these kind of problems in your students. Sometimes they understand they understand what you said, but they don't know how to say another thing or how to answer, right? Another factor could be psychological and linguistic characteristics of speech. This physiological has to do with problems with the speaking. I mean, natural problems of a person. Maybe the ways of creating situations, the kind of situations that we create, it is also going to be a factor in order to promote good speaking activities or to have problems. Because if they don't understand how to create a situation or how to develop a dialogue, maybe sometimes one mistake that we make is that we ask our students to create a dialogue out of the blue, or just because we talk about the topic, create a dialogue like that, and that's it, right? Prepared and unprepared inner speech, something that happens psychologically speaking, and this is from the psycholinguistic area, is this inner speech. And you know that something happens in our mind when we are learning English, especially when we didn't start learning when we were little children, because when you teach little children, it is different. In little children, the inner speech is activated almost at the same time. Yes, so they can recognize sounds in English and they put them into the area of the English area. And they don't need, most of the time, they don't need the first language in order to understand. However, when we learned, maybe when we are adolescents or when we are adults, the first stages of our learning, in our first stages, we have to talk to ourselves in Spanish, use English, we listen in English, we use our Spanish in order to understand what somebody has said, or to use Spanish in order to know what we are going to say. So this is the inner speech that it's mentioning here, right? So little by little, this inner speech is going to change. With the exposure of English or with the exposure of the entire language, your students and yourself are going to get this fluency, let's say, in your minds in order to connect the ideas with the language that you are using and not with the first language that you have, right? So what we have to do is to try to prepare our students in order to be conscious about that, the inner speech. So when they translate, most of the time, it is natural, but it cannot be permanent. Otherwise, they are going to have problems with speaking all the time. And the other one is the type of exercise that we discussed about that. There are some types of exercise that are not going to be communicative, that are going to be very repetitive, and they are not going to learn how to produce a speaking or how to, perform a speaking or to perform a conversation or any of those things, right? Questions so far?
No, teacher.
Sure. Any comment to say?
No, teacher, nope.
Okay. Let's see. Let's continue then. So then we have this that we have language and speech. Something is language, you know, and the other one is speech. And we have a speech here in the psychological area. So as I explained before, this belongs to the psycholinguistic. The speech is produced in the brain, but the speech is produced in the brain because we have listened and we have produced a kind of system that it is what the language gives, right? Language is not inner, it is not inside our brains. Language is outside, it's external. But when the language enters to our brain, we start producing and elaborated this linguistic repertoire and the linguistic skills in our brain in order to connect many things, right? So the language is philological and it is logical. And the speech is psychological and linguistics, right? This has to do, the language has to do with the structures, with the texts, and the speech has to do with the mind and with the language, but in the sense of the linguistic aspect, right? Psychologically speaking of the characteristic of speech, speech must be motivated then. Speech cannot be, it is not automatic, must be motivated. Speech is always addressed to an interlocutor. So although we can talk with ourselves becomes the interlocutor, but we need another person to speak. Okay? Speech is always emotionally colored. So there is not any speech without any emotion. Emotions are present all the time because we are humans, we are not robots. And speech is always situational. So speech happens according to the situation, and the situation makes that our speech varies. Yep. So those are psychological reasons for this. So the linguistic characteristics of dialogue speech, the use of incomplete sentences, ellipses in responses. Example, where do you live? In Cherkasy. Let's see, it's an example. How many books do you have? One. So what happens in this case? There is an incomplete sentence, right? So it is an ellipsis. What is the incomplete sentence? The response. If you can pay attention to here, the response only with one or two words, the intention is to have a complete sentence. For example, in the first one, I live in, or in the second one, how many books do you have? I have one book, right? The one means the whole sentence. And this is what happens when we are speaking most of the time. And maybe you have experienced this with your students, that you try to speak, but they only answer with one or two words, right? But it is normal. So the other thing here, the linguistic characteristic of dialogue of speech, is the use of contracted forms. Doesn't, won't, haven't, can't. The use of some abbreviations. Bike, maths, lab, the lab or the laboratory, the fridge, refrigerator, computer, or others, or the use of conversational tags. So the tags are like, isn't it? Or it could be right, those kind of taxes. So those are linguistic characteristics of speech that we have to take into account in the speaking part as well, because they become normal and they don't belong to the area of writing. They belong only to the area of speaking. Yeah, so we have to make our students conscious of that. So we speak in one way and we write in another way. Okay.
But teacher, but is it correct if we encourage our students to, for example, to omit the ellipses that, for example, when they say that the answer were only one word, so you make them to give the complete answer?
Give me the purpose, give me the reason for doing that.
No, the thing, for example, is something that is usual, like if you made the question like, example, do you have pets? And they say yes or no. But also, it's important to know that the correct way to answer, just to identify the grammatical order, like when you answer, yes, I do, or no, I don't. Yes, if they get used to only answer yes or no, probably, and when they're writing, they cannot. They only also write in the same way, like yes or no, instead of writing the correct word sentence, like yes I do or no I don't. And also, it helps to identify the order or the grammatical way when you're asking. Example, the uses of the uses of auxiliaries according to the general or the number. If it is singular, plural, general, it doesn't work in this one, but it also helps.
When one student or when my students ask about that, for example, when they say, teacher, but why I cannot answer just like this? I am going to say exactly what you have said. It is because I want you to notice how the language is structured. I usually do that, but, and I
Yes.
explain to them, it is not necessarily incorrect when you just use one word or when you just answer in this way or the other. But for they to notice what the structure of the language is, I consider that it is important they to use or to avoid the ellipses at the beginning. And I agree with you when you are saying those things, right?
Yes, I have told them the same thing. Like, okay, we understand and we know that it's a correct answer if you say yes or no, or okay, they give you their own answer. But it's also important if they give the
The
correct
complete,
ones, like the
not the
complete
correct one,
sentence,
but the
and
complete.
also
Mhm.
yeah, sorry, yes, the complete one, and also encourages just to speak a little bit more, because just say only one word like yes, no, or 12, yes, giving only one word is the easiest part. But if
Yeah.
they starting to just to giving complete sentences, they encourage is a way to encourage the students to speak and give more of what they can.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And I actually do it. With advanced levels, we can avoid those kind of things, right? But with basic levels, we have to work on that. I suggest to do it. Very good. Okay, any other question? Okay, so prepare and unprepared speeches. So speak following the plan, and we always need to have a plan for doing speaking activities. So speak on a subject suggested by the teacher, speak on the text read, summarize or give content, discuss problems touched upon in the text read or heard, help a foreigner, example, to find a way to to find a way to some place. So we can have those kind of activities in order. Those are only suggestions, but those suggestions, some of those suggestions you gave them as an example in the previous question or in the first question I asked, sorry. So those are kind of uh, activities that we have to use prepared or unprepared. I mean, the first one is speak on a subject suggested by the teacher, could be prepared or unprepared by the students. They can go home, read about the topic, and come to the class and speak. or they just can come to the class, the teacher propose a topic, and you have to start speaking. So there are the two alternatives. And the other situations can be the same. Could be prepared or unprepared. Yeah. So those are the type of activities that we can plan here. So types of classroom speaking performances: imitative. I don't agree with this one, that the first one too much. However, in the first levels, we have to use it because they need to recognize some patterns. Intensive, responsive, that they have to answer to certain things, and it is different from the transactional, in which we establish a dialogue now, right? The responsive is only to respond to some questions, and the transactional is a dialogue. So a dialogue implies an understanding, construction of meaning, a higher construction of meaning, and elaborating a conversation that could go freely. And the interpersonal, that has to do also with that level of speaking in which you or can interact with the other, taking into account the other, and really make a dialogue in this sense of interpersonal, not only as a transactional, that it is like having a conversation in a restaurant or asking for something in a supermarket, but the interpersonal, that is a more elaborated dialogue. Yep. Okay. Okay. So
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
there are other suggestions in the slides. I'm going to share the slides with you, and you can use them in the different levels: imitative, intensive, responsive, transactional, interpersonal, that you can check, right? And you can pay attention to them in order to, a suggestion for you to continue doing your activities. All right. I'm going to stop this part here, and I would like to know if you have already sent the video. I have only 3 videos so far. When are you going to send the other video? Tanya, when are you going to send your video?
The video of the class, teacher, from the new video?
Yes, the new video, Cesar.
Well, I'm planning to record tomorrow.
Okay.
But that's the thing. So I'm planning to record tomorrow, and if I record it tomorrow, I upload it. I'll send it tomorrow.
Are you send it tomorrow? Okay, right. Rafael already
Yes,
did
if
it.
I record it tomorrow, yes.
Thank you. Wilton already did it. Sara Inez, Carolina, you are going to do it next week, right? And Jaime Fernando?
Yes, teacher.
Teacher, I'm planning record the video this Saturday and upload the Sunday.
Upload on Sunday.
Upload on Sunday, sorry.
Okay, all right. Okay, very good. Okay, guys. So I'm going to be pending on your videos. I want to watch the final video very carefully, and I'm going to give you the feedback. I already gave the feedback to 2 people. I have one person here pending, but I'm going to do it maybe tomorrow. I hope that you can write your paper during this coming week, paying attention to the instructions that we discussing here. In case that you have any question or any doubt about the way to write the paper or what to include in the paper, please let me know. I'm going to try to answer as soon as I can. Okay? Remember, again, I don't know if you listened, if everybody listened at the beginning. I'm going to be very busy next week on Thursday, so we are not going to have a meeting. So we are going to meet by the last week, that is going to be June the 6th. Okay?
Teacher, I have a question. We can introduce on the paper maybe things before to take the decision to be a teacher.
Okay, before making the decision of being a teacher, it sounds very interesting. I like it.
Yes, maybe, I don't know. So
Yes.
it's a little introduction. Well, in my case, I began my writing in this way. So I would like to continue with the whole process until now.
That's good. Very interesting.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Very interesting process. Okay. Any other question?
No, teacher.
Not so far, but I only wanted to ask you something. If maybe did you receive a message that I wrote to you
With
in your
the
email?
skills?
With the, yes, with my sick leave. Yes, senor.
Yes. Yes, I received it.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Okay. You asked because I didn't answer. Okay, sorry. I saw it and I have it there on red because I need it in the future. And if I read it, I'm going to forget it.
Yes, yeah, I know about that.
But I know that it is the sick leave. So I open my
Yes, sir.
email and the sick leave is going to be there. So that's good. Yes, Rafael, I'm going to upload the slides tonight. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's all for today.
Thank you, teacher. Have a nice night.
Thank you,
Have a
teacher.
nice week. Please write.
Thank you, teacher.
And I'm looking forward to reading what you write. Okay. Goodbye.
Okay, teacher. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye, teacher. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.